I'm young, but I'm wise enough to know. So let's talk about this whole Brandy situation, okay? So I have just started listening to her memoir phases. I'm really in the very, very beginning of the book. Um, but I keep seeing that Brandy's going viral for the book and for her statements about Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men. Now, if you're a little young, you don't really know the situation, you don't really know the story, basically, and this is the story that has been going on and going on and going on and going on and being told and being told and being told for like 30 years. Okay? So, for some reason, Brandy and Wanya started dating. And I'm just saying this for the story part. We'll get to this, but dating. And Brandy was 15. Wanya was like in his early 20s. Okay? So they started dating. They were like, she was like his protege. He was like her mentor or whatever. It was a whole thing. They started dating. They made, Broken Hearted together. Then Adina Howard comes into the picture. And if you don't know who Adina Howard is, she made the song Freak Like Me, whatever. She's also around Wanya's age. For the longest time, and unless you were really around back in the day, like unless you're a Gen X or a elder millennial or millennial, you might not know this, but for 30 years, they've been trying to say, oh yeah, it was Brandy versus Adina or Adina versus Brandy, and Brandy stole Adina's man and blah 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 blah, and all of these things trying to make it actually look like it was a real relationship and that this was all consensual and that it was really a beef between Adina and Brandy. Now Brandy puts out her memoir phases, right? And she has a whole chapter in there about this situation. And she clearly comes out of her own mouth and says, I was groomed, right? I was groomed by this 20-something-year-old man, this early 20-something-year-old man, okay? I think he was 21, 22, and she was 15 when they first started, like, talking, hanging out, whatever, right? And so Brandy was like, yeah, at the time, I was young, didn't know any better, I was young, there was all these expectations around, I was this young budding artist, I just really wanted to be taken seriously in the music industry. I, liked this guy. He was my mentor. I just was really, musically inclined, and I just wanted to learn all these things about music. And, Boyz II Men were on the top of their game at the time, They had put out 2 records already, and they were at the top of their game. And so it was like, okay, cool, whatever, like, mentor-mentee. But Wanya took it a step further. And he, according to Brandy, was really in that pressuring her phase. Okay? And they got together. And apparently, according to Brandy, they were waiting until she turned 18 to go public. She had to hide the relationship because he was waiting until she turned 18 to bring this public, right? And to me, that just makes me really mad because it's like, if you're waiting till she's 18, then you know what you're doing. You know that what you're doing is inappropriate, and you know that she's 15, you're 20-something, you can't be in this relationship with her, you can't be going to the public that you're in a relationship with a 15-year-old, and that's why you're waiting till she's 18. And that's what these PDF files, these groomers do. They will groom this child, make them fall in love with them, make them think that they're this most mature kid who is so mature, and this is why we're together, because women my age, they're not as mature as you, and this is why we're supposed to be together, and all of these things, put all of these ideas into your head because you're a child and you don't know any better, and you think that you're cool because you're with an older person. And then they'll be like, but we have to keep it on the DL, we have to keep it down low, we have to not talk about it to anybody, and I have to wait till you're 18 to really tell the public. Okay? It happened with Aaliyah, Brandy, and so many others. And I want to have a conversation specifically with Gen X. Okay? and elder millennials, but mostly Gen X. Okay, I'm 34. I was born in 1991, and I have 3 older Gen X siblings and 1 elder millennial sibling. When I was born, my siblings were 10, 13, 14, and 16. Okay? So I have a little bit of experience with Gen X and elder millennials. Okay? So my siblings were teenagers in the 90s. Okay? And one thing I noticed is that with Gen X specifically, elder millennials too, but specifically Gen X, there were these, and I'm not saying it was just Gen X because they're happening all the time to all the generations of people, right? But I just want to talk about Gen X because this is, the topic of the person that we're talking about who is Gen X. So, the fact that back then it was just okay for people to have age gap relationships, it was just okay for people to just like have a relationship with a teenager and be in their 20s or 30s. It was like okay because people just didn't care. People were just like okay with these things. Like regular people were having these age gap relationships with these young kids, these 15, 16, 17, sometimes 13, 14-year-old kids. And you're in your like early, mid, late, even 30s, 20s, 30s, And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how normalized it just became. That's why nobody caught on to what was going on with Aaliyah. And if you did, you thought it was normal because you didn't think it was anything major that Aaliyah was with R. Kelly. You didn't think about it that way because they weren't really together. He was grooming her. He was essaying her. He was R-wording her. But she was little. She was young. She didn't know any better. Okay? She was being abused heavily and she didn't know any better. Brandy, same exact thing. Same exact thing. Not to the extent of Aaliyah, but like same thing. Same thing. And the fact that there's a whole clip from 2014, I think, of Boyz II Men on The Breakfast Club, because of course it's The Breakfast Club, and them basically bragging about this whole entire situation is really disgusting to me. And then the fact that for 30 plus years, people have come on the internet. People have talked about it in circles. People have, whatever, about Brandy and Wany Morris's relationship, which is not a relationship. That's grooming. That's some PDF file mess. Y'all, be serious. And y'all were just telling the story like it was this normal relationship between 2 consenting adults who were in this relationship, whatever, and then Adina Howard came into the picture, and it was basically like, this war between Brandy and Adina Howard. I just don't like that story. I don't like it, and I think it's disgusting, because it's a 15-year-old Brandy, 16-year-old, 15-year-old Brandy, against these adults. Yes, when you're in your early 20s, when you're 21, 22, you're freaking an adult. I don't care. You might be a young adult, but you're an adult. And I don't care, just because they're 21, just because they're 22, their brain hasn't developed yet. Not fully, but it's developed enough to know that, I'm really not supposed to be with this 15-year-old, and that's why we have to hide this relationship, and that's why I can't be with you out in public until you're 18. That's why I have to hide your age. That's why I have to make up faulty marriage certificates to act like we're married because I got you pregnant. R. Kelly. Like, it's very disgusting. And the worst part about all of it is that these dusty men will come on the internet and 100% defend the PDF file. 100% defend the PDF file. It's so gross how black women in general, because it's not just happening to black women, okay? It's happening in the pop sphere too, okay? I know you guys saw the conversation that Demi Lovato and Keke Palmer were having on her podcast about them being in age gap relationships. And we know what happened with Demi. And just, Wilkie Mamorama is a terrible, terrible human being. And then, of course, Hilary Duff also came out with a song called Mature, where she talks about, being taken advantage of and all of these things. And so it's not just happening in one sphere. These men have no care for women, okay? And what really bothers me is that these be the same men with moms and sisters and cousins and daughters, and yet they will always go on and support the PDF file in a situation like this. And it just makes me so pissed off. Like, so pissed off how women, but specifically black women, are never, ever treated right and are never believed, and just every single time, like, I've been seeing the comments about this whole entire situation between Brandy and Wany Morris, and y'all are disgusting. I really want you to know that y'all are the most disgusting, despicable people, because the way you're speaking about Brandy, who was 15 at the time, is really gross. Because if this happened to your own 15-year-old daughter, you would be outside, oh, let me go get my shotgun, we're going off hunting for this man, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. But because it's somebody who's famous, or because it's not your daughter, or your sister, or your whoever, who this happened to, you don't care. And because the person who's doing it is famous, you don't care. Because you two, but I love Boyz II Men. We can't be canceling Boyz II Men, even though they were seen in a picture with, I forgot his name, but he's somebody in MAGA. They were in a picture with him, so I'm just saying. But my point is that whenever it comes to R. Kelly, whenever it comes to Bill Cosby, whenever it comes to Chris Brown, whenever it comes to all of these men, now Wanye, all of these men, y'all are going to defend them to the end of time. But, you know, these women, these young girls, they don't get anything. They don't get anything. Oh, but you know, they knew what they were doing. Oh, but you know, young girls are just fast. Oh, but you know, they shouldn't dress that way. Oh, but you know, this and that. Are you serious? Are you really, really, absolutely, positively serious? You guys are just horrible, and I hate it. And it just makes me so infuriated that y'all don't believe women, specifically black women, specifically black young girls, when they come forward and they talk about the trauma that they've had at the hands of these older men who should not be with these young girls because they are PDF files. Y'all can try to rewrite history and pretend like it's this relationship and they were in love and all of these things and this battle between Brandy and Adina Howard, all these things and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, there's a power dynamic there. There's an age difference there. And I don't want to hear anything else about it. I really, truly don't. And we need to be protecting our young girls, specifically our black young girls, more in these communities. Because we don't enough. And this is why things like this either get swept under the rug, they don't talk about the situations that they're in, and then they don't get help for them, and they don't get these people sent to jail or whatever. Or the story that y'all hear about this situation gets told in a different light, and then it just kaboom. It really makes me sad. It really makes me sad. And not to flip the script, but I also am calling out these women, because let's be honest, it's never just men. Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever her name is. It's never just men. But these women who also do this are also gross and disgusting. Take Lil Wayne's situation and how he brags about that to this day, which is disgusting to me. But he was also groomed, and that was also disgusting. So, yeah. But we've got to stop it. And we also have to stop this sexualizing of young people. Specifically young girls, specifically young black girls, but like young people in general. We need to stop over-sexualizing them and let them be kids. Because y'all are nasty. Y'all are some nasty, sick humans. And I'm just so tired of having to hear these stories all of the time. All of the time. You wonder why women are so afraid to go outside at night, walk to their car at night from wherever they're coming from, you know, be outside at night at all, be outside alone. Women are scared of being outside like that because of y'all men. And y'all don't care. And it's gross and disgusting. So, you need to get a handle on that and stop treating the people, the children, the young girls, the young black girls who were definitely groomed, definitely essayed or R-worded, whatever, and were definitely put in situations that they should not have been put in. So get it to freaking together, because y'all are some disgusting individuals, honestly and truthfully.